This issue might not go away anytime soon. It is getting interesting by the day. The Hawks, who had said from the beginning of the Bushiri saga that they would brief the public on the development of the Bushiri case, appear to have run out of options. They want the public to volunteer information on the abscondment of Prophet Shepherd Bushiri and his wife. Spokesperson for the Hawks, Colonel Katleho Mohali, says, quote, "Anyone with information regarding his escape is encouraged to anonymously contact law enforcement. Information may also be shared directly to the Hawks through the communication officer. Information received will be treated with strict confidentiality," unquote. The couple disappeared from South Africa into Malawi some 2 weeks ago while on bail. Since then, the entire state machinery cannot convince the desperate public on how the Bushiris left South Africa.
When we heard that Bushiri has left, we wanted to know what mechanism has she used, because, Chairperson, the Bushiris were instructed by the court to hand in their passports, their travel document. But then we consulted our movement control system. We requested it to show us the movement of these two people through our ports of entry. And our movement control system indicated that the last time the Bushiris went officially through any port of entry in South Africa was on the 19th of January 2019, when they entered South Africa through the OR Tambo International Airport. After the 19th of January 2019, there's no movement in our movement concept that indicates that any of the Bushiris went through any of our border posts. That includes on these days, on the whole of days of last week. It only reflects January last year. Of course, there are newspaper statements about them having gone into Lesotho by bribing a Home Affairs official. Obviously, when a Home Affairs official is bribed, it's not easy for us to know. At the same time, we do catch people who are bribed in Home Affairs, but it does not necessarily mean we catch them all the time. So I took liberty to check with Lesotho. Now, I want to mention, Chairperson, when any plane, any commercial aircraft, let me say, leaves Lesotho, it can only go to OR Tambo International Airport. When anybody is in Lesotho, they want to go to any part of the world, they can only do so by going through a port of entry into South Africa and out again. There's no other mechanism. So the only other mechanism a person may fly from Lesotho, apart from the ones I've mentioned, is through a chartered flight. I checked with my counterpart in Lesotho, and they checked with Lesotho International Airport. There were no chartered flights that landed on Maseri Airport for last week. The first flight that landed and is still there was bringing a team from Burundi, and it landed on Sunday, a day after all this saga happened. So the issue of Lesotho, we dismiss. So that's why, Chairperson, we issued a statement that the Bushiris did not live with the president of Malawi, neither did they go through our port of entry, neither did they produce any of the passports.
They have been declared fugitives, and 3 arrest warrants have been issued to Malawian authorities to extradite the Bushiris back to South Africa to face trial on allegations of fraud, theft, and money laundering.
Earlier in the morning, I did share the work that has been done since we became aware that Shepherd Bushiri has left the country. Yes, true, this morning we did go to court and the warrant of arrest was issued. The bail conditions have been revoked. The funds that have been paid by the Bushiris have been confiscated into the state coffers, which is about 400,000.
Meanwhile, a legal expert, Advocate Motsepe, has warned the Hawks against this decision and believes innocent people may be punished. Quote, "You can't ask people to come with information on an issue like this. We all know where Bushiri is. I think it is time they put hands down and let government talk at diplomatic level about this issue. Otherwise, it is an embarrassment and vindicates Bushiri when he says they have nothing against him that hate, unquote.
They arrested me and my wife over buying a private jet. They claim it was money laundering. And we were arrested for claims of money laundering. Of course, though, eventually in the court indictment, there was no money laundering. They attached my private jet on money laundering issues, even though eventually they have removed the money laundering case in the court indictment. And I wonder, why are they still holding my private jet if it was money laundering case that they were holding my private jet? Eventually, they changed the case to contravention of foreign exchange, which, according to me, the things they claimed applies to someone who is a South African citizen. I did not buy a private jet as a South African citizen. I was a foreigner at that time and did not hold any permanent residence in South Africa. As such, the act they mentioned did not apply to me as a foreigner who bought a private jet. More importantly, that I provided with the courts how I obtained the money and how I made the money.